Two police officers were conducting a routine patrol through the local park when they stumbled upon a makeshift cardboard home. The homeless owner of the so-called home walked out and got extremely nervous as he spotted the officers approaching him to check out his creation. They asked him a few questions and if they could check inside, which he nervously declined. Later, one of the officers poked his head inside and saw something that would end up leading to the homeless man's arrest. Also, if you have not done already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. When Officer Chris and his colleague first spotted this cardboard house, they thought some kids had built it, just like they built tree houses in the forest. The officers would soon find out that it wasn't a kid's project at all. They would end up making a shocking discovery that would lead to an arrest, but they had no idea of that just yet. The man came outside not paying much attention to what was going on around him. He was looking at something that he was holding in his hands, and he seemed to be completely focused on it. When he noticed the officers approaching him, he suddenly jumped up and quickly put whatever he had been holding in his pocket. He immediately disappeared back into the cardboard home, making the officers even more suspicious. When they stood before the house, they called out to him and asked him to come outside. Of course, the officers could have just walked into the hut or even ripped it apart, but there was no reason to do any of that just yet. Instead, Officer Chris asked the man to come outside once again, and he added, "I wouldn't refuse a police officer's order if I were you." Before the officers could even ask him anything, the man quickly explained that he had just built the hut to use it as shelter from the rain and the cold. The officers exchanged a look, and one of them asked the homeless man, "Well, why don't you just go to the homeless shelter?" But he didn't seem to like that question. He muttered something about there not being enough space for all of the homeless, but Officer Chris knew that that wasn't true. He knew that this man was lying, and he didn't trust him. "Sir, this is not a question. It's an order. We need to see what is inside this hut," Officer Chris said, and the man's eyes widened upon hearing this. He stammered, Wait, just a moment, please," and he disappeared into the hut. Officer Chris peeked inside the hut, and he gasped when he saw what was inside it. After the initial shock within the shaking hut, Officer Chris's colleague noticed an escape route cunningly hidden behind. Without hesitation, he dashed through the park, following the faint traces of the homeless man's hurried escape. Meanwhile, Officer Chris peered into the sparse interior of the hut, the dim light revealing little more than shadows. The scant belongings spoke volumes of the man's plight. As Chris prepared to follow, his foot caught on something beneath the hut's floor, revealing a hidden compartment. The discovery hinted at secrets yet uncovered, suggesting the hut's makeshift exterior masked more than just the desperate circumstances of its inhabitant. With no moment to lose, Chris pushed his legs to move faster, the scream guiding him like a beacon in the dense urban landscape. This was more than a chase. It was a race against an unseen clock. Rounding the final corner, Chris came upon the tense standoff. The homeless man's stance stiffened, his refusal to surrender clear. With the situation escalating and no peaceful surrender in sight, Chris made a split-second decision. He issued a final warning, which went unheeded. The immediate threat neutralized, Chris and his partner quickly secured the scene, their breaths heavy in the aftermath. The silence that followed was a stark contrast to the chaos moments before. They exchanged a look, a mix of relief and concern evident in their eyes. The encounter had ended, but the weight of it lingered. With the man now in custody, Chris and his partner turned their focus back to the hut. Their persistence paid off when they discovered a hidden compartment beneath the floorboards. Inside, they found various items that didn't belong to the homeless man, suggesting a connection to recent thefts in the area. Standing amidst the remnants of the day's discoveries, Chris and his partner shared a moment of clarity. The evidence before them painted a vivid picture of desperation, challenging their preconceived notions of Galton survival. Upon closer examination, the silver box revealed contents that neither officer had anticipated. Inside, small, personal items mingled with what appeared to be random trinkets. Each piece seemed inconsequential alone, but together hinted at a story much deeper and more personal than expected. This box wasn't just a container, it was a puzzle that beckoned to be solved. Chris and his partner resolved to peel back the layers of this enigmatic case. The case of the homeless man marked a pivotal point in their careers. With renewed commitment, Chris and his partner looked to the future, ready to apply the lessons learned from this experience. In the light of a new day, Chris and his partner returned to the hut, determined to uncover more about the thefts. Their approach was methodical, sifting through the remnants of the man's life with a fine-tooth comb. Each piece of evidence, no matter how small, was cataloged, contributing to a growing body of knowledge about the crimes he was implicated in. Motivated by their recent experiences, Chris and his partner began developing plans to address the root causes of homelessness and crime. Their strategy focused on building partnerships with social services, enhancing support for vulnerable populations, and implementing community-based prevention programs. They were determined to make a lasting impact, inspired by the belief that a safer community is built on the foundation of understanding and support. As their shift ended, Chris and his partner looked out over the city with a sense of hope. The challenges they faced were significant, but the lessons learned from the case of the homeless man had provided them with a clearer path forward. Further investigation conclusively linked the hidden stash beneath the hut to the homeless man's activities, unveiling a cache of items essential for his survival. This discovery shifted the officer's perspective, illustrating the desperate measures taken in the face of adversity. It was a poignant reminder of the human struggle for survival that often goes unnoticed in the hustle of city life. Reflecting on the case, Chris and his partner grappled with the realities of desperation that pushed the homeless man beyond the boundaries of legality. They recognized the fine line between survival and the law, empathizing with the difficult choices faced by those on the fringes of society. This empathy reshaped their understanding of justice, emphasizing the need for a nuanced approach to law enforcement. The story of the homeless man underscored the importance of compassion in policing. Chris and his partner became advocates for an approach that considers the underlying factors of criminal behavior, recognizing that each case carries its unique complexities. Inspired by their recent experiences, Chris and his partner reaffirmed their dedication to serving the community with empathy and a deeper understanding of the societal issues at play. They committed to being agents of change within the law enforcement system, aiming to influence their colleagues to adopt a more compassionate and comprehensive approach to policing. The narrative concludes with a call to the community to unite in addressing the root causes of homelessness and crime. Together, they look forward to a future where compassion leads the way towards a more inclusive and understanding society.